Hi, everybody. It's Mark Rushton of markrushtongallery.com. It is Sunday, April 3rd, 2022. And this video is called Slow Down and Take Your Time. Slow down and take your time. Yeah, I'm going to talk about my painting Mailboxes, the speeded up video I made from it, talking about websites and apps and stuff like that. And then I'm going to switch over the discussion to the music side of me, because I'm also, I'm a painter, fine artist, but I'm also a recording artist. Been doing that for over 20 years with relative success, I would say. Relative success. But I want to kind of expand based on what I've built in my catalog over these years. And well, we'll get into that discussion of that. If you're interested in the music stuff, you can stick around towards the latter part of it here. But with all videos here, I'd like to start off with the Instagram picture of the day. And look at that, holding steady at 104 followers. That's great. Not going down. Went down there for a few days. Nobody, the bots, who knows, right? But I'm out there at Instagram.com/Mark Rushton. Or if you just want to get the videos and the Instagram through your Facebook, it's the Facebook.com/Mark Rushton Gallery. It's a great way to get all that stuff, especially if you're not a slave to your phone. So many people just going around like this, and I honestly, I can't wait to get rid of those things. The day is coming when I'm going to get rid of my smartphone. I don't know what I'm going to do otherwise, but I will invent the alternative, right? Just those things are just, but let's not get too far into it. So yesterday I worked on a couple of things. I had my little setup back here. I received it. Let me show it to you here. This is better than the Binks. I had the Binks a few years ago, and I don't know what they call this. It's just a little thing that attaches to the table, and then it's got this little arm that moves, and then you just hold sometimes the smartphone holds in there. You have to be very, very careful with it, but that's the way these things go. It worked pretty good. Worked perfectly good with this table back here, and I was very happy with it. And I used one of the old smartphones because we switched providers last year, and the phones that we had were not compatible with the new service, so we got new phones, and nothing fancy, just perfectly good smartphones that annoy the hell out of you. And anyway, I used one of the old phones to record. Apparently I could record 4K in that, but I was just like, who knows what that's going to do. And I chose, just HD, and even that file size, half an hour, was like 2 gigs. That was crazy, but that downloaded pretty fast. And I'm getting ahead of myself here. So let's go into this is Mailboxes. This is what the painting turned into yesterday. So this is a combination, it's a collage of thermal printed photography and my acrylic ink on synthetic paper. So it's kind of a mashup of that. I've been doing a bunch of those lately. But I had shown earlier in the week here that I was, what inspires me, and walked up to the Mailboxes the other day. We had a dusting of snow in the morning. And so I took that photo because I thought it was kind of an interesting subject matter. And I said, I'm going to do something with it eventually. And so that was the one I used for this. And what I used to print it off with is one of these little Pulley printers. It's a thermal printer, black and white, very low quality, low res. Supposedly it's prints 300 DPI, but maybe I don't understand the technology, but everything looks like halftone, that's fine too. Kind of lo-fi. I'm kind of lo-fi sometimes, my music. in sound. So why not have a little bit of lo-fi there in the art too? So anyway, I recorded it, this essentially being made, and made a sped up video because I'll show you here too. This will take over the screen here, but um, yeah. What do I have here? Microsoft. I'm on Windows 11, so this is probably in Windows 10 too. It's the photos, and then has a video editor in there, and I've never used it before, and until the other day, and super easy to use, very, very easy to use. And you have your project library, and then you pull things down to the storyboard, and then it's really easy to use. And then adding music, of course, I always add my own music because how are those videos are going to how are my videos going to be monetized anyway? I only have like 330 followers on YouTube. You need at least 1,000 to get into the ad program now. But putting your own music over it and having that music in Content ID, I believe a backdoor way of monetizing the video. I have not received the copyright notice though. That of course the copyright notice is me being in Content ID. You see how all this works together? It's like a big conspiracy theory, right? But so I make the video in here, and then you can go and you can mess with the speed, select the clip speed, and and uh, and then finish it. And you know, again, I'm kind of tech savvy. Well, you'll see later when I show you Airtable. I'm really tech savvy. Apparently, it's that's getting into pretty geeky stuff there, and I've been able to handle that. But this was easy. Anybody could do this. Make those little speedy up videos. It's just integrating it with things like Reels and TikTok, which is proven to be kind of difficult. But that's kind of an interesting image there. You get the lower part with the green, and then the higher part with the red, and then kind of in the middle there, it's a little washed out, and it just is what it is. It's kind of interesting. And so that was the Instagram. And so what I try to do with the video, we'll get off this here, was I try to do a reel. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to do upload a reel. I think it worked. Maybe it didn't work. Is that mine? Oh, that is that. That is that. But then it hasn't gotten any views. So I don't know what I did wrong. Let's get out of here because I don't want to show it from this point of view. Reels are confusing to me, as are videos. What's the difference? Right? And then I was like trying to upload it from the Chrome browser, and I had to go get something called insist, and that sort of worked. But I don't know. I just wish these mobile apps also worked on the desktop without too much difficulty, because I don't want to have to, edit on the desktop and then somehow get it onto the iPad or something like that, and then upload it through the iPad app. It just seems dumb. We want you to be exclusive to your mobile device and portals. It's just some old guy, some old boomer telling me how to access the app. That's fine. That's fine. I'm so whatever. So what I did was I just uploaded the MP4, which is just a 52-second video. It's actually 45 seconds of creation, then 7 seconds of seeing the image afterwards. I did want to keep it under a minute, along with some music on it. Now, I'm not sharing system audio today because I haven't worked out that kink of not being able to hear it while conducting the show here. I will worry about that later. So the music won't be in here, but you'll get to see the video here. And I'm going to choose BitChute here because this is where I get most of my views. YouTube doesn't really, I get a handful, a sprinkle that sort of thing. But alternative media is where the alternative media is where I get the most of my views and interactions. Not just here, but there are other sites too. Anything that wires up to YouTube automatically, and then you can eventually configure it for it to, if it gets published on YouTube, it gets pushed down to these other sites. If you can achieve that, that's great, because you just publish on YouTube and then check every now and then, make sure it's on these other sites. But it's all automatic, and people are out there and they engage and they watch it. And BitChute, for some, I don't know whether the numbers are real or fake, but I do have 21 followers on BitChute. I have 35 on Odyssey. I'm waiting to get my first one on Rumble. I don't know if those people are into art, but give it a shot, right? And UGE I've got 4 people following me there. I actually get a few views every now and then. That's cool. So let's take a look at the video here as it is on BitChute. And so, yeah, let's can we do the full screen? Just sit back and watch it here. Pasting it on there. And then layers and layers and layers, and wipe and wipe and wipe, and reductive. And then fix the paste. So I got too much liquid under there, and then more. Then the cloudy. Then refine. Get that effect that you want. It takes a lot. So there you go. There's the video. That's super fast. But yeah, I like the way that turned out. And with the music, it's even better, because it's sort of a beat-driven, down-tempo electronica thing. But just looking at that, and I was able to go and I don't want to do that. I want to do this here. I was able to, let's go to the full screen here. Yeah, I was able to add things like the title here at the bottom, at the end, and then of course the link to Mark Rushton Gallery, and then of course Mark Rushton Gallery down there in the corner. I'm looking at this a couple of different ways here, just seeing how it goes. And if you notice let's get up to here. I think it might have been an issue with the light or whatever, or maybe it was the old camera phone or something like that. This looks more pink than what it really is. It's much more kind of a deep red, sort of a magenta in the top part of the image. Anyway, to play around. Again, technical issues all over the place. So that was fun. I didn't spend that much. I spent more time making the art than I did dealing with the tech, that's great. Like, if you can get that in life, that's half the battle, right? Let's get over to markrushtongallery.com here. So we'll move on from that. Yeah, that's great. But I'm like, I'm a little burned out from that. I think I could only do one of those videos like maybe once a week or something. Actually, what I may do is I may go into BitChute and grab some old videos, re-edit them so that they're faster, because I had slow videos out there, and drop those every now and then. And that's another, just sort of an alternative way of providing content. As I like to say, for the people with no attention span, they like those speedy videos. But I like the speedy videos. I can go back kind of through and see how I did things, but speed it up. That's kind of neat. So where are we going next? Oh yeah, we're gonna move on. We're gonna changing the subject slightly. So I'm switching over here from fine art to music, but there's a bit of a lesson in here for both. As a dual discipline artist, it's it's like everybody just wants you to do one thing, right? Why can't you just do one thing and one thing only? Well, I like to make paintings and do the little collages, and I like to do make the music, make different types of music. It's just the way that I am. So out on the Mark Rushton website, the main Mark Rushton website, not Mark Rushton Gallery. Let's where is it here? There we go. Let's put the right one there. MarkRushton.com. Out on music services. This is just me talking to the camera, just because I really, I can tell this to like my wife or whatever. And she sort of gets it because she's a writer and, submissions and all that sort of stuff. But other musicians, a few people get this, but not that many. I kind of feel like I'm uh, ahead of the curve in a peer group, which is my peer group is nothing, right? I do not hang out with any musicians in my area at all. And I think if I did, I wouldn't want to hang out with them because so many musicians get stuck on things, and it's like my attitude is just like, and that's fine if you want to get stuck somewhere, like the island of Bandcamp, or you only want to do live gigs, or that's fine. That's if that's your level of comfort, then that's okay. I respect that. But I'm gonna talk your ear off about streaming services and building public playlists and the whole industry side of stuff and mechanical royalties, publishing worldwide in perpetuity, and music licensing. And music licensing is something that I've wanted to dip my toe into in 2022. And that is essentially the basis of this particular video. Slow down and take your time. I have to slow down and take my time. I've been doing that with the art store. They wanted me to do 8 million things. And, I've got my day job. I got my family. I've got other things that creep in. I got something coming up here at 12:30 that I got to deal with. And what can I say? It's something that I'm going to slowly walk into. It's like I'm not going to dive off the high dive of the deep end with this. I'm going to walk in the zero entry and walk down to the deep end is how I want to do this. And so a couple of things, and I'll show you this page first, and then we'll move on to Disco and Airtable. But I'm trying to refine my message with regard to music licensing. And I have done some things in the past. People have contacted me out of the blue. I'd like to use some of your music for student film, personal project, this or that, some sort of thing that I cooked up. And that's great. I like that sort of thing. But I think going forward, and I pretty much always say yes, unless, we're building, I'd like to use your music for the soundtrack of an ad for the bomb that I'm building. No, 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 no. Or the gun or something like War Machines. No, thank you. My product is going to be made by prisoners in a foreign country. No, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to use that. That's not good. But if you're making something else and, it's a art project or content, I guess that's the word, saleable content or nonprofit content, any of that sort of stuff, I'd be willing to entertain it anyway. But it's always been a minefield for me because I don't know where to go. There's this whole part of the industry with regard to music licensing is absolutely confusing. And I'm starting to figure it out, but where do you go? And so what I did, I listened to a bunch of podcasts and, researching around. Everything is unreliable because everybody's websites are like this or that. You don't know what they want because they're like, well, we want this type of music. But we also do this type of music and we, they want to be everything to everybody because everybody's looking for that, And I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for the Super Bowl ad. I am not looking for the movie trailer. I am not looking for any of that. And I'm looking for just to dip my toe into the world of micro licensing, which is fascinating. It's a subcategory of music licensing that has kind of popped up here in the past decade to clear music for small time players, people with the wedding videos, or I've made a website or I have a podcast and I want to use some music a particular way, but I don't have $50,000, $100,000 or whatever for whoever who's popular these days, right? I don't know. I don't really look at the charts anymore. And I can't understand. I look through the charts and I'm just like, I don't know anybody featuring so and so and so and so and everybody else. And 18 people wrote this song. I remember seeing that years ago and I was just like, that's gonna be trouble. And I am not trouble because I'm 100% independent. I'm one stop. I learned that term here in the last few months. One stop. That means I own all my publishing. I own all my master recordings. There's no co-writers, none of that stuff. And I'm available worldwide in perpetuity. I learned about that. And so I got a disco account and you have a free trial, but then you have to pay for it. And so I picked a nice level and then I added another thing called discovery libraries in there. And I'll show it to you here in a minute. It's um how do I say it? It's not the easiest thing to learn. I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to understand it. It's not the easiest thing to learn. I don't there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. But I've been making playlists on there fairly regularly. I've been adding music. I've got two different types of music in there now. I don't have my whole catalog in there because that's too much work and no one's really going to be interested in that. 2,500 tracks, it's nuts. So I've got sort of an ambient side, and then I have the sort of the down tempo, beat driven electronica. They're both instrumentals, and so I've made some playlists on the ambient side here. So you see something like this Sleep of Dreams. The playlist actually has a different name, but is not showing up for some reason. But that's just sort of like a 5-track playlist that you can stream out on my website. And it's not really for the general public. It is kind of, but this would be the sort of thing if you're trying to attract, what do you call it? Music supervisors, people looking for music, uh, people who work at sync agencies, micro license agencies, that sort of thing for music. And that's a whole. I attended Zoom calls and webinars that are just fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And but how do you do all that, right? And so I build very small playlists here. This one here is the down tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is probably pushing it. They should probably be about four tracks. I've got them at 5. I go get smaller. I made one playlist that was a one track. It was a brand new track. I'll put that in a playlist, right? You'll see here. But again, I'm rambling. So I've made a bunch of playlists. You'll see those here shortly. But I featured 2 out here on my website. And I say down here at the bottom, let's see if we can make this a little bit larger here. Yeah, I'm interested in licensing through sync agencies that have a strong understanding of the market for ambient, down-tempo, avant-garde electronic instrumental music, or are in need of environmental recordings. A list there. I don't do works for hire. I don't do that. It's like, oh, I'll pay you to make a song or whatever. That's not how I work. This is licensing of the catalog. Um, and then getting into the geeky stuff there, the upfront fee and back end percentage would depend on a variety of factors. I'm only interested in licenses of my catalog that offer back end royalties, which would be the sync license, it's the writer's share. So, if you run an ad or a movie, I hate to use the word movie trailer because no one's ever gonna, that's the brass ring, right? But just in case, you want to be able to collect those back end royalties. Excuse me here for a second. So anything on my labels that's 100% owned and controlled by me, anything on my labels is 100% owned and controlled by me, publishing and master rights worldwide and in perpetuity. And also, I explicitly state here, my catalog is not in any music libraries. One thing I've discovered in my research of, in the pursuit of this sort of thing is that there are a lot of musicians out there who they put their music in all these sorts of different music libraries because they want to be seen, they want to be discovered. I don't want to be discovered. I want to be invited. Right? Or it's like I got something that somebody needs. That's how it should be done. I'm not in hot pursuit. I do fine with the streaming royalties. This is just extra added bonus. It's like I have something that somebody likes or wants or needs or fits, or I'm at the price point that they need. That's how you do it. That's my philosophy anyway. Yeah, but I've heard a lot of different shows where everybody, it's just like it's a little too, they're a little ambitious, a little too ambitious. I realize it's their thing. That's fine within them. That's okay. But yeah, I'd want to work out a deal using a sync agency or a micro licensing agency. It's not going to be, I'm going to provide that sort of permission anymore. Everything, if somebody wants to use my music from my catalog or my sounds from my catalog anymore, we're going to have to do it through a middleman. Sorry. It's just, I need to do that sort of thing. Yeah, and I'm okay with non-exclusive deals with agencies, but if an agency wanted me to on their roster as an exclusive artist, I would consider it. Just depends. Some other things to note here: stems are not available. Apparently, that's an important thing. Stems are not available as most of my ambient tracks are mixed live. Keys are also not usually available because I create my music a little bit differently. I don't start off with, oh, this is in the key of whatever, and then I don't compose music that way. My catalog is available in 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz, wave or FLAC. A lot of music supervisors or production people want it in 48 kilohertz wave or an AIFF, and I can make those. I've got all my masters right here. Please contact me if you got any questions. Gosh, we're at 28 minutes. And somebody stuck with me the whole time. That's so great. So let's switch over to Disco. So that's my website. I just built that. I'm just trying to get the message down. No one's really going to see that. Well, maybe. Who knows? But here's my Disco. Yeah, I've taken you inside my Disco here. So it's kind of a confusing site. I'm starting to understand it, but I don't fully understand it. Because you have you come in here, you've got like you get your browse, you've got playlists, you've got tracks and albums. And albums, I thought that literally meant like an album, the albums of yore, but albums are more like playlists, I guess. I've seen webinars with the people from Disco, and they're like, well, albums aren't, it's just a collection of tracks. Isn't that a playlist? You're confusing me. And and then there's other things about this interface that, as a software tester for 28 years, drives me nuts. because like if I want to embed a playlist like on my website, I was like, where's embed? Oh, it's in share, right? And then there's this, you go over to the embed section, and then you have to click customize player to make sure that enable downloads is not checked if you don't want somebody to download your music. But in security, you have to check streaming only either way. So you have to click here to uncheck enable downloads, and then you have to check streaming only over here. It's just as a software tester, as a student of many processes, that drives me absolutely bonkers. What is this? Clean up this interface. And I see other people, commenting about disco, and I hear about how this is, music supervisors love it. The people who work at music sync agencies love it. The people who trading files and everything, like I guess the old way of doing it was, you worked out your deal and then you Dropbox links and all that sort of stuff. And this sort of takes the place of that, I guess. But the interface is very confusing. So you got that, and then there's channels. I don't know what a channel is. I kind of know what a channel is. And then they've got Discovery Suite, which I pay extra for. And then they have these things called libraries. And it's like, what? Playlist, albums, channels, libraries. Oh my, right? And then you've got artists. There's my artists down there. Some of my artists. Not all of them. I can't figure out how to get, view all of them. Does it limit? No, never mind. Aleodiology is not in there. I'm having a hard time figuring out how to get that in there. And then there's the you manually tag the tracks with metadata, but then you can also pull that over and have it auto tagged, which I don't understand what that is. And then there's the status. You have the status of it being active. And then there was something else about this that drove me bonkers. Oh yeah, easy access. So there was like, is it active? And then also, do you have easy access and allow music supervisors to access my library? It was like, I think mine was at private, so it was like nobody was not discoverable, even though I had clicked live at this interface. It's too much to learn. Oh my god! So that's disco. I am learning it. I'm figuring it out. But oh my gosh, I could see why some people get like totally frustrated. I feel like I'm having a senior moment here. I mean, it looks like it does a lot, and but it also, I think it does a little too much. But I've been used to that on a lot of apps I've worked on over the years. It's just it's a, what do you call it? It's a floor wax and a dessert topping. Let's move on from disco here. It's just drives me nuts. It'll be worth learning. But here's the other thing. And I don't think I've shown anybody this here is Airtable, and I use the Gizmo Plus template here to have all of my, and I think I've got a few duplicates in here, but this is where I go and enter all of my track information, and so song name, artist, and then you've got different aspects with regard to songwriting, publishing, master owner, and I don't fill everything out, but all the important stuff like title, UPC, ISRC, who's the distributor, album art, listen links, all that sort of stuff is in there. So that's good. That's been extremely helpful. Airtable's got a little bit of a learning curve there, and the Gizmo template is pretty good. Really good, really good. It was worth paying the extra $40 for the paid version. Um, and as time has progressed here, I've learned how to do, filtering conditions and stuff like that. And I haven't done any reports or anything, but I've seen that done by other people, and it's just like super fascinating. And what do I pay for this? I think it's like $20 a month, like $240 a year. And it's like, well, why don't you just use Excel? Well, this is a cloud-based relational database, and it's Excel on steroids. You start putting all this stuff in Excel, it's particularly like the numbers and things like that. You're gonna have to, you're gonna have to, what do you say? Format. You have to format the cells and everything like that. And that's a pain. That's a pain. Anyway, let's get back here. Let's get back to the posts or whatever, and I'll just kind of wrap this up here. 36 minutes. I'm getting hungry. I got somebody coming here in 45 minutes for some important things. Yeah, gee, well, this is a long video, but that's okay. Yeah, slow down and take your time. It's okay. It's not like the everything that I'm doing is just going to completely gel within, a week or two or a month on the art side or the recording side. So go slow. It's okay. Just because I paid for Airtable and I paid for Disco doesn't mean I have to get some sort of return out of that, or I quit, take my marbles and go home. It's all that's long term, and you just have to be patient and keep learning, keep understanding, keep refining your message. Nobody was born of whole cloth. Nobody. That's it for today. Wow, long ramble. I do like talking about this. I know it's multiple subjects, multiple disciplines, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I'm showing how the sausage made. That's okay. No one's gonna. Only those who are interested will follow along and actually do what needs to be done here. But yeah, okay. So my website's markrushton.com, and then my gallery is markrushtongallery.com. Talk to you later. Much later.